and got to a place called Hakata. Now I've looked for that on the map. I can see Hakata Beach, I think it is, on one map of Kyushu. I think it's Hakata Beach, H-A-K-A-T-A. And we put our sick in a hospital there, and there was a Dutch post there. The Dutch had taken over part of the troops that came in. It wasn't all Americans, there was Dutch there. And they were right there near that hospital. We put the blokes in there for a couple of days, and then we had the train and we went on to Nagasaki in a slow fashion, and we got down to the wharf just before dark.
Who was responsible for moving you? Had some Americans or
no,
Brits
we moved
come?
ourselves.
You did?
Nobody come for us. They said, Red Cross bloke came, said stay here, they'll come for you.
Yeah.
The Americans fed us from the air.
Yes.
And that was the only link we had with them until we got to the wharf.
So which officer made that decision for you to all move?
McCarthy.
Yes.
Yeah. We left at about 4 in the morning. It was still dark. We carried our wounded, our sick blokes down the bank and on stretchers and put them in the train. That's the only time I handled the blokes on a stretcher.
Yes. Who drove the train? Japs?
Oh, Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of blokes in there with him and the fireman. McCarthy got it. Yeah, he was a jump ahead of everybody. He waited long enough, he reckoned.
Yes.
And funnily enough, I won't tell you this bit on camera.
Oh, well, hang on.
Yeah.
Now, so you said it was about 6 weeks before you were moved, so that means it was about the end of September.
Yeah, it was
you went down to Nagasaki?
Yeah, 15th of August and the 26th of September.
Yes.
And we got to Nagasaki, about the little bit of, it's been just after the end of September, and we got on this USS Lunga Point. It was a big carrier, and we went off that night, and there was no room. And funnily enough, there I met my old Dutch Indonesian mate Paul Mueller again.
Yes.
He got on the same boat, and they were sleeping from 6 o'clock till 12, and then you had to switch over and let someone else from 6 till midnight. So him and I got a couple of blankets, and we got up in one of the blisters out on the side of the flight deck. I don't know whether they were gun turrets or what they were normally, but anyhow, we sat and smoked and talked in there all night long.
Yes.
And then we got to Okinawa, and they took us off that, and we went ashore for one day, I think, and then they put us on a Liberty ship, and we went on that across to the Philippines, and we were there. I know that was a very hurried trip from Nagasaki across to the Philippines, because we weren't there very long, and there were 2 British carriers in the harbour, the Formidable and the Speaker.
And the Speaker.
And we left there on the afternoon of the 4th of October, and on the Speaker, and the Formidable left later that evening, and it got into Sydney a couple of days ahead of us. So it was a big one, and we were on a small one.
Yes.
One of those escort carriers they built, when they were carrying the supplies in the early part of the war, and the aeroplanes could only fly so far to cover the convoys, and the gap in the middle where the U-boat pack used to wait for them.
Yes.
Well, escort carriers were built for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. But it was. Once we left, it was pretty well organised. These young blokes on board the USS Lunga Point had just come out from the States. They hadn't seen any battle, and I had a watch on similar to this. One young bloke said to me, and I got it off somebody in Japan, I didn't pinch it, I might have given him a couple of dollars for it, and said, you guys got any souvenirs? I said, no, I've got no souvenirs. And I said, no. That's all I got is this old Jap watch. And he said, I said, it's not much good. And he said, what you wearing it for, guy? I said, here, you can have it.
Yes.
Gave it to him.
Yeah.
And he took it. And anyhow, later on in the day, this Filipino-American came up. He was the captain's batman. He asked me the same thing. And I'd forgotten I had about 250,000 yen. The bank had been blown up, and we'd all got a poultice of money each. And the yen wasn't absolutely useless at that time.
No.
It was still worth a bit.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I had about a bundle that's about this bloody thick, and big notes, you know. And I said, no, I haven't got anything. He said, you've got nothing at all. I said, oh, I gave a watch away to a bloke. You gave it away, guy? I said, yes. I said, it wasn't much good. I said, I've got some Japanese some Japanese notes down there. Money. Oh, he said, I want some for my kids in Chicago. I said, hey, here, well, so I went down, I got this bundle back, and I gave it to him, the whole bloody lot.
A lot.
And his eyes stuck out here. Yes. He said, I can have all this. I said, yeah. How much? I said, oh, about 250,000 yen there. It would have been round about that figure, give or take a few, not much, you know. And anyhow, he said, oh, you stay here, guy. You got any clothes? I said, no, I've got these. And he looked me up and down. He came back with a full suit of American gear for me.
Yes. Well, it was a very expensive lot of clothing.
Yeah, well, I didn't want it.
No.
You know, the Jap yen was nothing to me.
Yes.
We worked for 10 cents a day, and the only place we got it was on Singapore.
Yes.
Well, the sen went out. I've got a few notes there inside that came from there, but there were 10,000, one a 50 yen and a 50 cent one. Yeah. But that's all. I just kept them for souvenirs. But this great bundle, this bloke, his eyes stuck out. He probably went and flogged a few off here and there and got other things.
Yes. Now you weren't discharged till January 1946. Were you in hospital or?
No, 31st of January at Sydney Showground. Yes, that's when I walked out, and as I'm walking out, I saw Major Maffey coming towards me, and when he got up close, he looked the other way.
Really?
I saw the colour patch in that one. He looked the other way, and I said, I think the same way too, you bastard.
Really?
I didn't say it to him, I said it.
Under your breath?
Yeah. Oh, he was a lousy bloke.
Oh, what a shame.
I heard him calling a bloke one day, a fellow named Cox. Yeah, nothing but an F and B, you know. This was in Sellering Barracks too. And Cox, he was quite taken back. He said, did you hear that? I said, yes, just forget about it. Nothing you could do. No, we thought he was a cut above us. He came from around Singleton, somewhere in the Hunter Valley. Yeah.
There quite a lot of doctors came out of the Hunter Valley.
Yeah, he's the only one in our unit that I can think of. Racing came from the New England Table Lands, not Gunnydale, not Tamworth, Armidale. We met his daughter when we were over there a few years ago, Therese and I.
Well, Roy Mills came from Maitland.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He was Roy Moncrief Mills, R.M. Mills.
Yeah. And
he said to us one day, he said, you know, after the post-war years, he said, you know, he said, I had a nickname.
Go on, keep going.
And he said, you blokes never ever knew it. And I said, we had a nickname for you too. I said, you tell us what your nickname was and we'll tell you what it was. And he said, they used to call me Beryl, you know, Beryl Mills, an actress or something. I said, that's what we bloody well call you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, really? I said, yes. But Roy was a good bloke. He was a terrific fellow.
And there was Tom Brereton.
Oh, LeGay Brereton. He came to us towards the latter end, and he came from Newcastle. But my father went in there one day, and he said, "Come home." He told me. He said, "There's a fellow in there named Brereton. He seemed to know our name." I said he was an officer in my unit, but I never went to see him because I didn't know him.
Yeah, well, he lost his sight. A lot of it. He lost a lot of his sight, and he had to become a cardiac specialist after the war.
Yes, I don't know anything about